Allow me to introduce myself. Hi, I'm John, and here I am going on a journey, hence John's Journey. If my name was Vern, it would be Vern's Voyage, or if it was Evan, it would be Evan's Expedition, but my name is John, so John's Journey it is. Everyone loves alliteration. I was born in London, spent a good chunk of my youth in Cambridge, and now live in the north with my partner Charlie. I know the north is a bit vague, but we're about to move on. I'm not entirely sure when this is going to come out. This is my micro camper. Her name is Betty. She's a 2012 Citroen Berlingo that Charlie and I bought last year so that we could explore the UK a bit more. Recently, Betty hasn't been on many adventures, so this channel is an excuse to get her back on the road and document my adventures both with and without Betty. So seeing as she's going to feature a fair bit more on the channel, I thought I'd let you get to know her a little bit. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, John, we get it. You don't need to give us a car tour because we get it. She's an absolute beast. She is sex on wheels. No more needs to be said. She does all the talking just in her appearances, but I'm going to give you the tour anyway. Now, Charlie and I bought Betty about a year ago, and we bought her primarily because we had one car, but Charlie needed a car for work. I needed a car for work, so we needed an extra car, and that's why on the surface Betty is just sort of a standard car. She's got 5 seats, and that's because her primary function is as a car, and I think that's where Betty stands out, and that's her key difference from other micro campers, that we can take 5 people in her. In fact, if you were to just look in the window and you saw this parcel shelf here, you would have no reason to think that she was anything other than a regular car. But when you come round to the back of Betty, open the boot and take a look in, that's when you start to realise that Betty is not just a normal car. Now in the boot of Betty, we've actually got this unit here, and this is what folds out to turn Betty from a regular car into a micro camper, and this unit actually has 2 different modes. Now in order to set up both of these modes, you need to go into the back of the car, take off the headrests of the back seats and fold all of those seats down, and then you've got a platform from which you can unfold the camper unit. Now this here is mode 1, which I think I'm going to call sofa mode or dining mode, and basically it's this sofa in the back which also gives you this dining table here which can either be used to eat off of, or I've often worked out the back of this van as well, so it can also be used as a desk working area. So this is a really sort of unique configuration for a car. I haven't seen too many micro campers which will have a unit in the boot that then folds out like this. Having said that, I don't spend much time looking at micro campers, so maybe I'm just ignorant. Now the reason I love this is because obviously being in Britain, it can rain a lot when you're out camping, and that can be quite miserable, especially when you want to eat your dinner. So it's actually really lovely to have a dining area basically, so big fan of this space. And talking of dining, back here we have this drawer which I affectionately refer to as the kitchen, mostly because it's got the camping stove and it's where I keep my little camping kettle. So this is where I'll do most of my cooking or making cups of tea and coffee, which, now that I'm saying it, sounds like a brilliant idea. We're having a cup of tea. I tell you what, I just drove until I saw a quiet spot where I could park up and show you guys the car, but my God, it's gorgeous here. Good excuse to send the drone up whilst we're waiting for the tea. Now, one of the cool things that Betty does have is this here. This is a cool box, which is actually a fridge. So it charges through a cigarette lighter in the back whilst you're driving. So you can have things like milk for cups of tea. Just realised I haven't brought a teaspoon with me. Oh, I thought that was regular tea, but it's actually rooibos. Got a new neighbour now. You know, I felt so silly in the moment that guy turned up when I was talking to the camera that I immediately just had to stop talking because I thought he'd look over and go, look at that guy talking to a camera. He's crazy, and he might have a point. I've been very fortunate in my lifetime to have been afforded the opportunity to go and explore and travel different countries and different continents. And over the last 2 years of the global pandemic, I think I was really missing that. I was really craving that sense of adventure, but actually what I think the last 2 years have done have helped me redefine what adventure means, especially having Betty. I've started to realise that actually having an adventure is just experiencing something new, something different, something exciting, and you can actually do that on your front doorstep. I've done it in this car. I've gone out and journeyed and met people in Betty, and me and Charlie have taken her up to Scotland, and I've done a couple, I am not seasoned by any stretch of the imagination, a couple of stealth camps in her, and I'm really looking for the opportunity to explore that even further, to take the adventure even further and actually show that silly little things like making a cup of tea out of the back of a car on a Thursday afternoon, I'm filming this on a Thursday, can be fun, can be an adventure, and hopefully, if you guys are up for it, I'll take you along for the journey. Right, let me show you what this car looks like when it's in bed mode. And that there is one complete bed. Now, the one thing I didn't show you earlier was the plug sockets, and that's because they're not usable most of the time, but they are usable when you are plugged in. That's right, Betty has an electric hookup point, which means that when you have power, you can also have the fridge running all night. Now, Betty does have a small power option for when you're off-grid, which is actually under the bed right now, but I'll put it up on screen here. But really, it's just for like powering lights or charging phones. You can't plug anything major into it, and that is one of the areas where Betty is lacking. You can't go off-grid for a long time if you need power for anything like laptops, if you're hoping to work offline or something like that. Speaking of lights, I do have a lovely pair of LED lights, which I hang off of this thing here, which is meant for like an internal rack, and I can use that for lighting here, and they've never really run out on me, and I only charge them semi-frequently. So these are really good. These are Lumi lights, they're good. Now, I intend to use Betty on this channel, at least for the first few videos, for stealth cams, and as you can see, it's pretty open and pretty exposed. Quite a lot of light can get in here. Not very stealthy, which is why I have these. Now, as you saw on top, there's a roof box which contains camping chairs, camping table, extra stove, that sort of thing. But what I also keep in there most of the time is these window covers. Now, there's nothing really that complicated here. There's just these little suction cups which stick the covers onto the window. But what I really like about it is that they are double-sided, insulated covers. So you can have the foil side on the outside on days where it's hot and you want to reflect the heat, and you can have the foil bit on the inside when you want to keep the heat in. The other reason why you might want to keep foil on the inside is that if it's black on the outside, I think it's a much stealthier look. And stealth is what we're going for. Now, I've not put covers on the front windows, but as you can see in the back, you can make it pretty dark in here when you have all the covers on. It doesn't help that it's daylight. It also is what I imagine it would feel like if you were to live inside a jacket potato. So I think that's probably all I'm going to show you today. I've probably bored you silly with this tour of Betty, the micro camper, but I love her and she's going to be doing lots of adventures. So if you think that that's the sort of thing you'd like to see, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and yeah, enjoy this time lapse. Well, that was nearly a disaster. Enjoy this time lapse of me packing down the van. I almost forgot to mention, you may have seen this hashtag DBAD all over the van, and that stands for Don't Be a Dick. So here is your every video reminder, don't be a dick.